is 7:30, and we're about a minute behind, and this is a regular scheduled Macedonia Council meeting, and I would ask that the clerk please call the roll.
Mr. Bilkey.
Here.
Ms. Brandt.
Here.
Mr. Molnar.
Here.
Ms. Tully.
Here.
And Mr. Ventura.
Here.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to call on our city's chaplain, Tom O'Brien, American Legion's Post 801. Chaplain, please ride.
With bowed heads, let us pray. Almighty God, Father of all mankind and Judge over nations, we pray Thee to guide our work in our council meeting this evening. We pray for those who serve the people and guard the public welfare, those civil servants who work at City Hall and throughout our community, and that by Thy blessing they may be enabled to discharge their duties honestly and well. We pray for our leaders, that by Thy help they may provide the leadership our community has empowered them with. Finally, O God of mercy, we ask Thy blessing and comfort for our neighbors who are suffering from mental or physical disability. Cheer them and bring them Thy blessing of health and happiness. And now please join the base of the flag and join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Chaplain, fine job, and happy St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you, Mayor.
No.
Okay, the first item on the agenda then would be our minutes from our February 22nd, 2018 meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the February 22nd.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Next item is the acknowledgement of receipts of the financial report dated February 28, 2018.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. This is the point in the meeting where the public has, if they have any comments, they're allowed to bring them forth. Unfortunately, I have the list here and there's nobody on it. I guess everybody knows that it's a cold night and they want to get home early. So, next item on the agenda is ordinance number 11, 2018.
Mayor, I make a motion to accept ordinance number 11, 2018 as amended.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to
Amend.
show for the amendment. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried.
I make a motion to, or I move to offer ordinance number 11, 2018 for its third reading by title only.
Okay, we had the moment. Okay. Now let you, sir. You're the law director.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
So your motion was
As to
to conform with the version introduced. That was.
well, I was not given that language. I make a motion to conform with the
Version introduced this evening.
version introduced this evening.
Okay, that is what you wanted to do.
Thank
And
you.
that was
Thank you,
Mr.
ma'am.
Wilkie said was the second.
Correct.
Okay. Now you'd like to offer its third reading.
Okay.
Version introduced, correct?
Yes, I would like to, yes,
Yes.
third reading by title only.
An ordinance amending section 138102 and section 138103. Yeah. Just amending chapter 1381 of the codified ordinances regarding satellite dishes, not what I just read. The last thing I just read. Just chapter 1381 of the city ordinance.
See, it's all hard. Okay.
Yeah.
Mayor, I move to pass and post ordinance number 11, 2018 to the same according to law.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Could we have a roll call on this one, please?
But I have one question. Does this exempt folks who already have dishes in their front yard?
Well, it would apply to individuals who already have dishes in their front yard to the extent that service has been discontinued and they're seeking another permit for an additional dish.
Okay, so if they reuse the dish that's already there, they're okay. They're grandfathered, basically.
In sorts, yeah.
I only saw a couple. I haven't
Yeah.
seen very many of those, so.
Yeah, this
Okay.
only impacts the placement of a second dish, so.
Okay. Go to roll call, please.
Mr. Vilkey?
I understand the reason why we're suggesting this from the mayor's office, but at this time, I just don't think that it can be enforced the way that it should be, so I'm going to vote no.
Ms. Grant?
I know it's personally was a burden on me to get rid of the dish that was on my house when I purchased it. Has there been language added to the point of sale regarding these stations? I know I asked about that. The point of sale.
Yeah, at the point of sale, we're not looking at a dish, or if there's two dishes or whatever, we're certainly looking at the aesthetic value of the house, as whether the siding and other things in the house are intact, if you will.
Sure, but it's still a burden on the home buyer.
I mean, it could be put in there to see whether or not it is in use or not in use at the time of a point of sale, and we would have to then offer something to amend our point of sale ordinances.
Are you asking that it be removed as a part of the point of sale?
Yeah, if it's not going to be
But what
reused,
if the buyer wants,
wouldn't that be known?
the buyer may want dish? What do you
Would
do
the buyer be
then?
able to say, you need
Well,
to...
Do they have to pay
To
a
answer your-
permit fee because the dish is already there?
True. But yeah, because 9 times out of 10, they'll put it up for free.
Right.
No, but it is a
So they'll
$4
take
charge.
it,
Yeah, the
if they
permit's for
hire
the
someone to
placement.
take it down as point of sale, the new person comes and has to pay to put it right back up. It's just a question, because that's not in here.
Right. I think it is a little ambiguous, and it's hard to see this as a need that's facing the city at the time, so I'm going to say no on this. My vote's no.
Mr. Mulner?
So I've been a proponent against this from the beginning. I even had thought about abolishing it completely, but I think there is some need at some point. But the thing that bothers me is the onus of who's responsible here, and I think that should be on the satellite provider, not the homeowner. I just think about like a new home where someone's moving into it, and they have to go through moving everything to their home, and they want to have their TV set up and have to get a permit and give a blueprint of where they're putting a satellite on their roof. It's just too much. I think if we're going to do something like this, if we want to put the onus on the satellite company, I'm all about it, but I will not put the onus on a homeowner, so my vote's no.
Ms. Tully?
Based on my day job, I have to abstain because I work for AT&T, which owns DirecTV. But I did some investigation on this. The consideration is that once you put a dish up, you own it. And that's why DirecTV and Dish and all the other ones don't take them down. They basically say you now own that dish. So that kind of opens a quandary, but I abstain.
Mr. Ventura?
I will just go with the majority and vote no until we, I'll just vote no.
Okay,
this time.
obviously, the motion to pass has failed, and I'm just going to make this comment. What I think we're trying to control with this ordinance, in a sense as well, is that because dishes and antennas and everything has become deregulated in the industry, you have a lot of these companies coming in and they're subcontractors of maybe a bigger company, and they throw these dishes up on roofs, they throw them up just about anywhere they want to. They run the wiring on the exterior of the home, they tack it to the siding. They don't do what I consider to be a professional job. That is a big problem. Taking down the dishes where there may be two out there, that's another issue in itself, because they don't obviously come back. So somebody who doesn't want to take them down, you wind up with maybe two dishes in your house and or on your house, and they become unsightly. It looks like you're somewhere from Mars, But anyhow, I respect the decision
Mayor, I have a quick question. Do you know if an HOA can make regulations for their own neighborhood?
Sure, yes.
Regarding that?
To a certain degree, I mean, you can't outlaw them, but you can certainly dictate where you want them placed on the property, and mostly everything has to be a southern or southwest direction. So sometimes they get blocked out a little bit, like the Villas of Taormina. There are dishes in the Villas of Taormina, and mostly everybody who has put them in has landscaped around them, put the poles mounted systems on them. Now, there has been some that have gotten up on the roof that they never got permission for, but they did. So, but, you know, it's just to try to regulate so that a homeowner who doesn't or isn't aware of having a black coax cable run on the exterior of their house and tacked to their siding and causing damage is significant. I mean, they just don't do it a very nice, neat job. I mean, houses that have basements, they should penetrate into the basement, get to that control area, and then make their tap there. Instead, they want to run it up the wall and punch it through and do all kinds of crazy things.
They used to run them inside the walls in the house until people complained about that because they used to fish them through the walls. The other thing is you might want to be known as 2 years ago, the industry has announced that they're trying to find a way, and they will find a way to do it that you don't need the dish, that you'll be able to get the TV and that satellite without a dish. And that's what they're working towards. They introduced it and they're slowly rolling it out to make sure it works before they roll it out to the general public. So those dishes will become a thing of the past.
That would be a great thing. So, okay. Moving on. Next item is ordinance number 38.
Move to offer ordinance number 38, 2018, for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance and sale of notes in a maximum principal amount of $1,300,000 in anticipation of the issuance of bonds to pay the costs, oh, that's a bad spelling there, of constructing, reconstructing, resurfacing, and otherwise improving certain road and streets in the city of Macedonia and declaring an emergency.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
I move that we pass and post ordinance number 38, 2018 to the same according to law.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 39.
Move to offer ordinance number 39, 2018, for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 97, 2017, relative to the annual appropriations for additional expenditures of the city of Macedonia for the period January 1, 2018 to December 31st, 2018.
You've heard the reading.
I move that we pass and post ordinance number 39, 2018 to the same according to law.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 40.
Mayor, I move to offer ordinance number 40, 2018 for its first reading only.
Second.
Oh, you don't need a second.
An ordinance amending Chapter 1135 of the, oh, that's another misspelled word, a codified ordinance of the City of Macedonia regarding the Board of Zoning and Building Code Appeals.
Okay, next item on the agenda is ordinance number 41.
Offer ordinance 41, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried.
And you want a new, I'm going to read the new title, correct, Mr.?
Yes.
An ordinance setting a public hearing to consider application to the placement of land in an agricultural district with reference to the property at 9541 North Bedford Road. And may I read section, the
Section
last
one.
whereas, Mr.?
Please do.
Okay. The clerk of council shall also notify the applicant of the time and place of the hearing by certified mail sent no more than 10 days prior to the hearing to be held on March 22nd, 2018, and that would also include that I placed at a public hearing notice.
Mark, can you give a brief explanation of what this is about, just so we're clear to the public?
So this is an application by a property owner to have their land placed in an agricultural district. There's various benefits for land being placed in the district, including some insulation from potential assessments and enforcement of ordinances against the property. There's certain minimum requirements that have to be met under the code, and that's why a hearing's being set for March 22nd, at which time the applicant will have the opportunity to come in and present his case to council.
Thank you for your brevity. I move to offer ordinance 41, 2018, and post the same according to law.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 42.
Mayor, I move to offer resolution number 42, 2018 for its first, second, and third readings by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
And a resolution authorizing the Parks and Recreation Director and the mayor to advertise for bids for a cleaning contractor for the City of Macedonia Family Recreation Center.
You've heard the reading?
Mayor, I offer that we pass and post resolution number 42, 2018 to the same according to law.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Next would be any correspondence. Josephine, do you have any?
I do, sir. Dear Officer Glenn, my name is Jaden Kay. I am in the second grade. I am 8 years old. Thank you for protecting our school. Are you athletic? So cute this is. Thank you for everything. The kids at Ledgeview love you. They feel safe. Happy Valentine's Day. Again, this is from Jaden. So cute. Dear friends of the City of Macedonia, this is from Mary Matala. She's a volunteer recruitment manager for Hospice of the Western Reserve. Thank you so much for featuring our full-page flyer in the volunteer on the volunteer class that is currently being held at our hospice at the Medina location. I was so pleased to see this information being shared in your wonderful newsletter. This pertains to the e-messenger. What an impressive publication it is. You really have everything that the residents could possibly want to know about covered in this periodical. Keep up the good work, and thank you for your support. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to Mayor's report. February total revenue for Mayor's Court was $50,495.94. We are, the City of Macedonia, along with Superintendent Joe Clark, we're calling a safety meeting here at City Hall on April 11th between 11:30 and 1. It's going to be a luncheon. This is basically going to be for all the elected officials in Northfield Center, Sagamore, Macedonia, Boston Heights, and Northfield Village. This is to obviously bring everybody together, talk about our security in our schools, and kind of being an informative type of meeting. I think that in light of what's going on in and around the United States of our great state, I'm getting tongue-tied there, but through the United States and all of the different situations that have occurred, I think we owe it to our general public that we gather, come together, and look at ways that we can increase security in schools. So that's one of the reasons we're having this meeting. There's not any one cure-all to taking and handling this problem, but I think we should make whatever effort we can. The City of Macedonia has committed, obviously, a school resource officer, which is Glenn, and we're happy that Glenn's in the high school, and we're happy that Glenn has been able to intervene in certain situations that we have had there. And obviously, he does go to Ledgeview, but, you know, there are many schools within the Nordonia Hills area that need to have somebody constantly going to those facilities as well. I mean, we have Barnabas, St. Barnabas, we have Rushwood, we have Lee Eaton, we got the middle school, and we have the elementary school.
Northfield Center.
In Northfield Center. So there's a lot of schools to cover, and not one resource officer from Macedonia can handle all of them. We do go to those schools, but we just don't have enough time to spend a lot of time in each of them. So we spend our effort, obviously, in the high school and in Ledgeview. Thank you. So anyhow, the meeting is Wednesday, April 11th. It's going to be 11:30 to 1 o'clock. It's going to be basically all elected officials, all police and fire chiefs, and all school officials. So it's not for the general public. It's basically for them to be a little bit more educated and for us to be a little bit more educated as to what they're doing. The only thing I keep rattling on about our 0.25% increase that's going to go on the ballot for our safety forces and service department. And it's important, obviously, for our residents to really take a hard look at that 0.25% increase. It doesn't, again, as I've always said before, it doesn't give me love in having to increase taxes, but the reality is that with cuts from the state and you know, a city that has kind of been stagnant, if you will, in its growth now, we're not seeing the increases that we used to see. So where the city has maintained its budget about here, the cost of living has risen up here, and the operations of the city are important. I mean, obviously, if we get this passed, we're looking at buying a new aerial truck for the fire department, which as ours is outdated, it can't even be certified without spending a whole lot of money. It's also talking about the Detective Bureau and the Police Department and increasing our 911 and our communication services, which is, I think, really important for our residents to have good safety measures in place. And also the service department, their needs, we're running with 15 guys in our service department, and we're not obviously able to keep up with the demand of the needs of our community. Our lane miles have gotten a lot more. Our routes have gotten a lot bigger. You know, we're just totally tasked, if you will, in the service department. You know, I go back in time, and I said at one time we had like 22, whether it was 22 full and part-time people, nevertheless we had 22 people running out of the service department back in the day when I was mayor. And I come back to a department that has 15 now, and 3 of those are mechanics. We have 1 sign guy, and then we have an electrician that is taking care of all the electrical needs around the city. So when you take those 5 people out, that leaves you 10 people then to cover this entire city. And it's just, it puts such a burden on the department, on not only that we work the guys beyond a point where they're tired, we have to have them called back depending on snowstorms and what have you. So we don't have enough of the rotation that we used to have, so that you don't work a guy over 15 hours, if you will. And we just had that occur where our mechanic was out. He worked his day shift. He then was called to stay till 11:30 or so that night, and then at 2:30 in the morning, one of our trucks breaks down. He's called back in. That's obviously not a good situation to have somebody called in that's really that tired to come back into work. So, you know, it's because we don't have enough men to call in at any given time. Now, obviously, that doesn't occur all the time, but it's certainly a situation that we find ourselves in. So I just ask the residents to support it. They're supporting something for themselves. This is clearly a benefit to the residents. You know, the finances of our community are an open book to anybody who wants to see them and see where we were and where we're at. And again, we're going to not renew a 1 mil levy, which will save residents about $60 on a $200,000 house. So that'll come right off your taxes. So if this 0.25% passes, a $60 real estate tax will be not asked to be renewed, and it will come off your real estate taxes. So with that, I have nothing more. Committee reports?
You know, kind of piggyback off of what you're saying, and we had our first financial meeting last Thursday, and it seems that we only have about $33,000 to spend on capital this year. and that's because we're so tightly ran, but we are short of doing any things. So I hope you take a good look of the reasons why we're asking for the passage of this levy.
Okay, any other committee reports? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to department reports. John?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll keep this simple. It's snowing outside. Be careful going home tonight. Nothing more to report.
I think you want to get home early, don't you?
I got caught in it last night. I was
Yeah,
waiting on it.
okay.
How's our salt, boss?
Our salt is fine. We have one full shed. We're low on our other one, but we placed another order. It's still falling behind with keeping up with their, with the demand, but we're fine in our city with what we have available.
Okay, great. Joe?
Sure, thanks, Mayor. Update on 2 items for construction this upcoming season. The water main improvements on Robin Lane and Shepherd Hills Boulevard. We will open the bids for that work on March 16th. Also, the Ledge Road reconstruction project, which is, of course, our joint project, Northfield Village. As some of you may have seen, I believe it was on Nordonia Hills News, Northfield is the lead agent on that project. They'll be opening the bid for Ledge Road on Monday, March 12. So in 2 weeks' time, I hope to have some information for the council as to who the contractors will be. That's all I have, Mayor.
Angela?
I have no report tonight, Mayor.
Okay. Rhonda?
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to let everybody know that we will be receiving the form from Rita next week, which is the tax calculator that's going to help us with the refunds. We'll test that form out, see how accurate it is, and then start working on all the other refund applications that we've received thus far. In addition to the application, I did add another worksheet to the form, which helps the individual. So if an individual has uneven salary throughout the year, so if they work more the first half of the year versus the second, this would help them show how much income they actually had January through June and July through December. And it'll actually calculate what the estimated refund will be as well. So I've added that to the tax form. It is on, or to the tax application, it is on the website as we speak. The last thing I wanted to let you know is you are right, Mayor. The city of Macedonia is third in the property taxes, the lowest property tax in Summit County. So I got some information. I got some information from Summit County for all the cities and the villages. I compiled, the information they gave me was just based on the corporate rate. And so what I did is I ended up getting the effective rate for the residential and agriculture, and I compiled that, and out of the 22 entities that actually, cities and villages, we are the third lowest, at 58.56. So, that's all I have.
I knew we were down there somewhere.
I know. Should have listened. That's all I have, thank you.
Okay, great. Chief?
Mayor, I'd just like to recognize Ken Turley, Detective Turley. I don't know whether at the last meeting it was mentioned or not, but Ken did retire here a couple weeks ago. I worked with Ken since he started it in '86, and we always had a really good relationship with Ken, and I know he worked really hard for the city, so I just wanted to recognize him for his hard work in the city and wish him good luck in his retirement.
Yeah, I have to concur in that. I probably should have brought a resolution in recognition of Ken, and we did have a party downstairs for him, so we will prepare a resolution. He's served the city about 30 years, I think, or close to 30 years. I in fact hired him, so it was like he came in with me and he went out with me, so yeah, that's kind of funny. But yeah, Ken has been a very dedicated and excellent employee for the city, and I wish him well in his retirement. But we're going to bring a resolution. He didn't want to have a lot of fanfare. He was actually, it was very emotional for him. So I think that's why he didn't obviously want to come to a council meeting and go through all of that. But nevertheless, I think a resolution recognizing him is in order, and we'll definitely bring that to the table. Vince?
Nothing to report other than the news about Kenny.
Okay, great, thank you. Mark, you have anything?
No report, sir.
Okay, all right. Any unfinished business? Hearing none, any new business?
Yes, Mayor, if you would, please, I would like to remind the residents that the open office hours for our next council meeting on Thursday, March 22nd, Mr. Bilkey will be our primary contact person. And then after that, the next regular council meeting on April 12th, Ms. Tully will be our regular contact person. And so far, we're pretty happy with the way this is going. We've had somebody each of these last two council meetings that we've offered this, so I'm very pleased with that, and I'm sure the rest of the council is also, and the mayor.
Very good. Any,
I just want to take a minute. I have a daughter that's attending kindergarten in Leadview, and I do a Student of the Month, and I think that they should be recognized here, so I'm going to read the Students of the Month. This is for the month of September, or I'm sorry, February. For kindergarten, it's Zoe Diak, Leah Gary, Kaylin Mastuka, Mila Huffman, Luke Brumfield. First grade, it's Leah McCoy, Tori Smith, Hayden Toby Cash, it's Samantha Barnes. For second grade, it's Josephine Malosky, Troy Boss, Jaden Gum, and Cheyenne Bartolozzi. Third grade is Josh Lewis, Maggie Hansen, Lincoln Nestle, and Carly Shriver. In fourth grade, Natalie Barnes, Alex Vu, Mark Wetzel, and Taylor Hisoli. So I just want to congratulate all those students for their excellence and continue the great work.
great. Okay, motion to adjourn?
Mason?
Mayor.
No.
Wait, no.
New
we have
business.
Oh,
executive
I'm sorry.
session.
I'm sorry. Is there any new business?
Yes, I have something. Yesterday, I was attending the open forum for our schools with Mr. Bilkey and Ms. Brandt, and the one thing that I had heard in there that I wanted to bring public to this meeting was there was a concern from an adult about having police presence in our schools. And she had mentioned that there's an intimidation factor, that she felt her kids didn't feel comfortable around a person in uniform. The one thing I want to put out there to everyone is I know that our police department is not there to be an intimidating factor to anybody. They're there to protect and serve us. And at the end of the day, I want everyone to feel comfortable with that. So when we go into this summit with the mayor, the one thing that I want to talk about with not only our community, the other ones, how do we bridge that gap to not have people, and children especially, be intimidated by our police officers? That's something that you should look to be comfortable around, and I want to make sure that we exude the fact that we are going to be comfortable, approachable people. So I wanted to put that out there.
Do we have any other business?
Mayor, I make a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of discussing pending or threatening litigation.
Second.
Here we have a motion, a second, to go into a work session of council, and,
I have to do a roll call, sir.
oh, okay, go ahead.
Mr. Bilkey?
Here.
Miss, you just have to say yes, you want to go into. I know you're here. I know. I know you're
Yes,
here.
ma'am. How can I help? What do I need? Yes.
May I take your order?
Miss Brandt,
Yes.
Mr. Molnar, Miss Tully,
Yes.
and Mr. Ventura.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to adjourn into...
8:05.